Let's talk about doom goblin Greta Thunberg, who used to campaign to save the world. Eco-maniac she was. Now, all of her protesting energies seem to focus on Gaza. So you remember she tried to sail there recently and got intercepted and was kicked out of Israel because she refused to be jailed. Some of her braver compadres actually went to jail rather than agree to be deported. But doom goblin Greta was made of not so stern stuff. So she's doing it again. There's a convoy heading there. In fact, about 20 vessels displaying Palestinian flags are on their way across the Mediterranean, having departed from Barcelona. They stopped for a few days in Tunisia to pick up more activists and humanitarian supplies. It's called the Global Sumud Flotilla, GSF. But this is what's funny. Is there's chaos on board. Now, Greta was the captain of the ship. She's renounced her skippership because the convoy, the Mercy Flotilla, has descended into chaos because pro-Palestine activists, Muslims, are quitting the convoy and are furious after learning that there are LGBTQ campaigners on board. Greta, as I say, she stopped being the captain because she's so upset upon discovering that her Muslim friends are not especially liberal about gay rights, not as liberal about gay rights as she'd like. So we've got woke on woke war on board the ship of fools. Let's talk to psychologist and narcissism expert Richard Grannon. Good to have you back on the show, Richard.
Thank you very much.
Is Greta Thunberg a narcissist?
Well, I can certainly see lots of chaotic, narcissistic behaviour playing out here. Inevitably, in these groups, everybody starts to fail the purity tests of the orthodoxy, and then they start turning on themselves and on each other, don't they? So this is known. The narcissistic personality disorder, in the American definition, is in the cluster B constellation, which is also called the dramatic cluster of disorders. There's always drama with these people, always drama.
Well, what's hilarious about this is you've got kind of a clash of cultures. So apparently these 20 boats, or some of them, they say they've been attacked by drones and stuff like that. Of course, they won't be allowed to get anywhere near Gaza. It's totally performative, and no doubt the poor Israelis will have to go out and intercept them and arrest them all again. But poor Ms. Thunberg has learned that some of the Muslim protesters that they took on board in Tunisia especially, you know, they're not exactly warmly disposed towards the LGBTQ protesters who are on board. So there's this sort of clash of cultures. So Greta wants them all to be lovey-dovey and friends. However, the Muslims are not particularly liberally disposed towards the gay rights campaigners. So in high dudgeon, in a temper fit, apparently Greta has stopped being the captain of the ship. So it's all falling apart at the seams.
There is a research that's been done, good research by two researchers called Crispins and Bertrams, and they're looking particularly at woke and left-wing authoritarians specifically, and they're finding when they do the research and they replicate it that there is extremely high amounts of narcissism, psychopathy, and dark tetrad traits, which means you've got people who are high in Machiavellianism and sadism as well. And they've put forward this idea that when it comes to political movements, they call it the dark ego vehicle principle. And it basically means the people who are running the political movements haven't got a clue about the actual ideology of the people that they represent or the people that they're allying with. Yeah. They're just using them for exhibitionistic displays of narcissism. Yeah,
exactly right. I mean, I don't know about everybody else on this flotilla, but we do know that Greta went once before. You know, whereupon they were intercepted for their own safety. They can't get anywhere near Gaza. It's dangerous there. The Israelis came out, intercepted them for their own safety, took them into Israel, and basically tried to fly them out just said, we'll fly you out. But several of them, to their credit, I suppose, bravely said, no, we refuse. We're making a stand. So they were put in jail. I don't know what's happened to them now. Greta Thunberg, of course, she took the chance to fly out. She didn't stick around. But her going back again, you know, on what she knows as a complete lost cause, this just looks to me as a way for her to get into the papers. She knows that in no way whatsoever will this performative nonsense help the poor people of Gaza, will it? So it's all about her, isn't it?
Well, I think that's where we can say, look, obviously, I'm not a clinician. I've never met her. I can't diagnose her, but I can see narcissistic patterns of behavior. If you know full well and good that what you're doing is merely an empty gesture, that is literally virtue signaling. You're just signaling a virtue. You know it's doing no good for the people on the ground you pretend to care about. In fact, it's probably diverting resources and attention away from those people. So no, it's purely performative, and it's absolutely standard. It's what we expect. And even this massive internal conflict, when you have a bunch of people who are displaying cluster B personality behaviors, I'm not surprised that they're falling out with each other at all.
Exactly right. Now, what about her volte face? What does this add up to psychologically? That you know, she's a big campaigner, green campaigner, save the planet. How dare you? You're killing us. The planet will be drowned by 2024. How did that work out for you, Gret? Not very well. She suddenly switched, and all her focus of her fury and campaigning zeal now focuses on Gaza. She seems to have forgotten about the planet, and she's now just focusing on one part of the planet, the Gaza Strip.
So that would be another example of behavior that we can identify as being somewhat narcissistic. There is no moral core to the belief system. It's whatever gets me attention and validation today. And if the big issue today is this, then I'll do that. The big issue tomorrow, whatever the big issue tomorrow is, she'll jump right in front of that as well, which I think personally indicates that she's more interested in gathering narcissistic supply and attention than actually doing any real good in the world, as so many activists in this sphere have been proven to be. I mean, they're just using the activism as a way of getting attention.
Is she essentially, Richard, addicted to fame? She likes being in the papers, doesn't she?
I mean, it looks that way at this point. I don't know what it would have done to her developing brain when she was so young and she got so much attention so quickly, but I'm sure, with the neuroplasticity being so high at the age at which that happened, I would have thought that she would be calibrated now to needing way more attention than a normal person would, yes.
Yeah, and she does seem to get it, but not perhaps the kind of attention that she really likes, considering we just laugh about her. Listen, Richard, we tried to get you on the other week, but you were away on one of your exotic trips, but you must come on the show more. I always remember you and I trying Megan's jam. Do you remember
lovely
that?
Jam.
Yeah.
The lovely jam.
The narcissistic scam jam. Richard, great to talk to you. Thank you, mate. That's Richard Grannon, psychologist and narcissism expert on Greta Thunberg.